Hey everyone, I think I've done quite a few videos over the years on trading Bitcoin, which you should not, trying to time the market, which you should not, and trying to buy low and sell high, also which you should not. But I don't know that I ever put them into a single video. So here's all three in a single video. Okay, so what is trading? Trading is buying or selling something where you try to repeatedly guess where a low price is and then sell it at a high price and then buy it back at a lower price and then sell it again at a high price and then buy it back at a low price. And this does not work. Average, normal people virtually always, and I mean always, lose money on this. So if you are a very sophisticated Wall Street trader who has been trained in the arts and has access to information that nobody else has, well, sure, good for you, and maybe you can pull this off, but it's virtually impossible for anyone to make money trading anything. Now, it's very tempting because anytime something is volatile, anytime, and I knew this growing up, anytime you see a stock go up or down, everybody sees it go up and down, and then they remember when it was high, and they remember when it was low, and they remember thinking when it was high that they thought it was kind of high, and then they remember when it was low thinking it was kind of low. The problem is there's a bias in all humans where you always remember the thing you think you should have done, and you don't remember the thing that you were wrong about. So highs and lows in the price of anything are only knowable in retrospect, and in retrospect, it doesn't do you any good. So with something like Bitcoin, where 100% of the upside of Bitcoin has been, you would have missed out on if you missed out on the 24 best periods each in the last 10 years. So in the last 10 years, if you had missed out on the two best 24-hour periods of the last 10 years of each year, you would have missed out on all of the gains of the last 10 years. So on an asset like Bitcoin, when it goes up so aggressively in such a short period of time that anybody who's attempting to trade it ends up getting left behind. I mean, just like categorically, it just doesn't work. Trading is it's a loser's game, and I promise you're going to lose at it. And I've even encouraged my kids when they've, they got Robinhood on their phone or something like that, and they look at a stock like Tesla, and they're like, yeah, but Dad, it keeps going up and down so much. Surely I could just buy it when it's high and low. And for one of my kids, I even gave him $100 and said, please, son, I know you're going to lose this $100, but please try. I want you to try to trade $100 on Robinhood of Tesla stock because you don't know you can't. And I want you to find out you can't when the stakes are low, when you only lose $100, because I know you're going to lose it. And ultimately they decided not to do it, but they would have lost it. So you just can't win trading. Okay, so if you can't win trading, then trying to time the market. What about trying to time the market? Well, everybody wants to try to time the market because the price of Bitcoin always seems expensive at the time. So right now at 101,500, everybody's like, yeah, but it's so expensive. How do you know it's expensive? You don't know it's expensive. So let me tell you a few quick vignettes of when I thought Bitcoin was expensive. When Bitcoin was coming out of the bear market of 2022, it was rising, and one of the companies I was working with had Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and they needed to use some of that Bitcoin to turn it to buy some stuff. And I remember I had this distinct memory of exactly where I was in the car driving down the road. And I looked at my watch, and the price of Bitcoin at the time was $35,200. And I remember thinking, wow, that is really high, $35,200. And I was on the phone with the person who was in control of that Bitcoin and the organization's needs. And I remember distinctly, I told them, well, Bitcoin's really high right now at 35,200. Yes, if you need to liquidate it to buy whatever, feel free to liquidate whatever you need because, it's really high right now. Now, in retrospect, was 35,200 high? No, it subsequently went much higher, but it felt high because it hadn't been that high in a long time, and it had ramped up quite quickly in the previous couple days. So I have this very distinct memory of 35,200 feeling high. And again, in retrospect, that sounds ridiculous, but if I were trying to time the market, I would have thought, wow, 35,200, I'm going to sell at this price and then I'll buy back at 32 or 28 or whatever. Well, those prices never came back. Had I done that, I would have missed out on the huge rise of Bitcoin because whatever price I would have picked for when I was going to buy back in, that price never came. It just never came. So similar, back when Bitcoin was at 88,000 a coin, I did a Facebook post saying basically, please buy as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. The future is bright. And someone posted on one of my videos and said, I'm not buying any until it's 85,000. 85,000 is my number. I'm not buying until it's 85. And, my response was, well, the problem is it might never be 80. Because you may never have a chance to buy it at 85. Well, it's never been 85. I think from 88, the lowest it ever got was 87. And the person waiting for 85 is probably never going to get Bitcoin at 85. Additionally, there's a ton of people back in 2022 when I was buying Bitcoin hand over fist, every dollar I could scrounge up to buy Bitcoin between $15,500 and $17,000. And it stayed there for about 4 months. For about 4 months, you could buy as much Bitcoin as you possibly could want between $15,500 and $17,000. And all the people on Twitter were all congratulating themselves on how smart they were for waiting for $13,800. They had all figured out that $15,500 Bitcoin was too expensive and that everybody should be waiting for $13,800, and they all had their charts and their graphs and all that sort of stuff, and they were all just positive that based on historical patterns and everything else, they were going to buy Bitcoin for $13,800, and the lowest it ever went was $15,500. It never went below that. And so they, don't own a bunch of Bitcoin that could have appreciated 500%, but they don't own it because they were waiting for a number that didn't come. So, I also remember distinctly in the spirit of sort of what feels high, I remember going out to lunch with my family, and we went to a nice restaurant because Bitcoin felt high, and high at the time was 62,000, and it was the first time it had hit 62,000 in a long time, and 62,000 just felt very high. Well, 62,000 does not feel high right now. So every number I've ever felt, including 82. I remember having this very distinct feeling when Bitcoin hit 82,000 of thinking, it is really high right now. 82, wow, at this price, if I need anything in the next couple years, maybe I should just liquidate some Bitcoin right now because 82 is really high. Now, I didn't do that because I'm not dumb. I made the decision that, I'm not going to liquidate Bitcoin until I actually need it to buy something, because I'm not willing to risk missing out on the upside. And I'm glad, because here we are at 101,500 and suddenly 82 doesn't seem high anymore. So do not try to time the market by guessing what is, by where your entry points should be and where they shouldn't be, because you just can't win. You cannot win doing that, which means you should buy as much Bitcoin as you possibly can and sit on it as long as conceivably possible. And that is the only way that people have just consistently won. Now, another strategy that people sometimes try to do is they say, well, look, I'm not gonna sell Bitcoin. I'm only gonna buy it, but I'm only gonna buy it when it's down. The problem is you end up buying it when it's down all the way up. So the price takes off and you miss out on a $10,000 price rise. And then the price comes down $2,000 and you buy some. Well, you missed out on $8,000. Then the price goes up another 10,000, comes down another 2,000. You buy another, you buy some more. But you're just missing out on all these price increases while you're waiting for dips. So don't wait for dips to buy Bitcoin. Now, if the price seems low to you and that convicts you to buy more, please do. But if you have the money to buy Bitcoin, if you've already mentally allocated that you're going to do it, then you should do it at whatever the price is. Because if you wait, I promise you lose. That is how this works. And I have, plenty of experience to prove it. And then the last one is buying low and selling high. Again, similar to timing the market, I sort of combine those two. But there's just no way to predict in advance what low and high is. And in a world where you don't know what low and high is, it makes absolutely no sense to pretend you do and to try to trade it or to try to only buy at certain price points. Again, everybody who has ever attempted that has lost. In fact, every time there's a video of Michael Saylor talking about how stupid it is to try to trade Bitcoin, but it's got some not for children's ears language in it. So every time I'm about to post it, I'm like, I try to avoid where I can posting things that have a explicit content warning. But he's got a strongly worded message for anyone who wants to listen about, look, can you imagine any of the Magnificent Seven stocks of Microsoft or Tesla, can you imagine trying to trade it in a world where every time you're out of the market, it is blowing past you? Like, how ridiculous it is, you know, when you're on the fastest bullet train in the world and it's accelerating, to be hopping on and off, hoping that maybe you'll get a little more juice than just the price of riding, than having to wait and ride the ride. He's like, that's just ridiculous. Just get on the train and stay on the train. Because, you know, what happens is you get off the train thinking you're going to jump back on when it slows down and you'll somehow be ahead. And then the train just gets going so fast you can't even climb on until you're way in the back. So just don't play that game. It's just does not work. It just does not work. It doesn't work. So in summary, do not trade your Bitcoin. Do not send your Bitcoin to anyone to trade for you. Do not try to trade your Bitcoin. Do not try to buy low or sell high, because that is just not possible. There's no way for you to know that. And do not try to time the market by waiting for certain triggers or certain actions or certain prices to buy or sell anything. Just if you need something because it improves your life or your family's life, and the only way you can get it is to sell a little bit of Bitcoin, well, then do it. And if you have money to buy more Bitcoin, then just do it. And don't let the price be your driver, because the price is always encouraging you to do the wrong thing. The price is always discouraging you from buying it when the momentum is upward, because it feels like, oh no, you know, it left me behind. And it's always discouraging you from buying on the downstroke, because you're thinking, oh no, maybe something's wrong with Bitcoin. Maybe I should wait. So best thing is to do is just buy Bitcoin anytime you can, anytime you have liquidity. Don't try to time it. It's not worth it. And you'll win if you just buy and hold as long as you can. Thanks, everyone.